Hello, everyone, and today I am joined by Ksenia from Holmes, and I am super excited to learn more about your journey, your background, homes, how you decided to build homes, and share this with all the other entrepreneurs out there today. Ksenia, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks very much, Arjun. Thanks very much for having me. And I look forward to just telling you a bit about ourselves.
Awesome. Well, let's start with this. Could you just share a little bit about what you were doing before you started Holmes?
So my background is in law, and I'm actually still a lawyer, so I do work full time. And Holmes really became a side project that I got very passionate about, just because I noticed that there is an issue on the market that wasn't really fixed. And our personal experience made us realize that it would be very useful for other people to have a tool that Holmes is trying to build.
I see. And could you share a little more about the problem you are solving? What was the problem? Why wasn't it solved? And how does Holmes solve it?
Of course. So the way it started is we rented an apartment with my boyfriend in London, and the apartment had a few rather serious problems. And we were thinking that it would be really helpful to know from previous tenants if these issues came up before. And we realized that while several people attempted to build something to sort of prevent this issue, so essentially to connect previous tenants with future tenants, there was really no very widespread product that tenants would be aware of and that current tenants would be using to report existing problems. And so this is how the idea was born, and we decided to essentially build a platform connecting previous tenants with future tenants. So very simple, but we thought it would really add value for people who are looking to sign a long-term tenancy, which is unfortunately is usually the case, for example, in England.
I see. And I hear this a lot, but it very much sounds like this is a personal problem you experienced and realized there's a gap in the market. We can solve it. And maybe it's a simple solution, but at the end of the day, you went out and you executed, and it seems like you're delivering value to people who aren't seeing surprises when they move into new homes now.
Absolutely. No, we hope so. So it wasn't started as a commercial business. It was just so that people have somewhere to go first to report issues and their problems in the properties. For example, it could be a leak, it could be noisy neighbors, it could be unsafe neighborhood, lack of natural light, very cold bedroom during winter. And then also do due diligence on any properties that they're going to rent.
I see. And hey, those are all the types of things which maybe the house looks great, but you don't want to find out about those things a month or two into moving into a new place.
Exactly, yes. Or if you're checking the property out during summer, you don't want to find out during winter that the place is actually freezing.
Absolutely. Now, something else you mentioned, which I actually want to double click on, is you mentioned that you have a full-time job and you're working on this on the side. Is that right?
Yeah, it honestly just became a weekend project with a few friends. So, but we hope that we're still able to deliver value to users. Yeah.
Well, I would love to learn more about this, because I know there are many people out there who are either working in a full-time or part-time job now, and or have a side project or a passion project that they would like to work on. Could you walk me through how you decided to turn this from a side project to something which, hey, maybe it is just a weekend project for now, but how did you decide to, hey, I'm going to keep this full-time job, but I'm also going to work on this? I mean, I'm sure you're pretty busy, and this is another thing on your plate. What led you to do that?
I think I really got to believe that this is an issue, and I really thought that we need to work on it just because it looked like no one else is going to. And we thought that we really want to make a small contribution to making the rental market a bit more transparent, a bit fairer for tenants, just because in cities like London, New York, the balance is really tipped in favor of the landlords. And so we really wanted to make our small contribution, and sort of the price for that was, some very often cancelled weekend plans, cancelled dinners. But to be honest, so far it's been absolutely worth it. I
like that. It's about making an impact and contributing and helping others. But
Absolutely.
I think you also highlighted that in entrepreneurship or starting a business, there are trade-offs and there are sacrifices.
Absolutely.
You were spending your weekends on the business instead of maybe doing pure social things. But
Absolutely.
It sounds like overall, no regrets, and you're delivering an impact too, which is fantastic.
No regrets so far.
Got it. And explain this to me. You have this side project and you started working on it or exploring the problem and the idea. How did you then decide it's time to formalize this and create a US business?
We really wanted to register a company before launching an app, and we are currently in the process of preparing for launch. So we're still on the testing stage. But for social media, because you create a channel for exchanging reviews or for exchanging information, you essentially create a form of social media. For social media, it's really important to have a company that is the face of this, that the company that is allowed to collect personal data, to process it, the company that has certain procedures and processes in place so that the customers know who they are dealing with, who they can come and complain to if something goes wrong. So I think the legal/organizational aspect was very important for us. So we wanted to make sure that when a user downloads an app, they know they're dealing with a company, they know they can come to us and complain, as opposed to just dealing with an individual. So that was the main reason, to be honest. The reason why we chose US is because our big ambition is to expand into different markets, and we thought that a US company would be a very good strategic position to start. And also, for example, for attracting finance, for just thinking about, things that might come up in the future, having a US registered business is really an asset.
Makes a ton of sense. So you wanted a vehicle or a face for all the work
Absolutely.
You were doing to interact with customers and to really hold the business. And then also strategically, the US is a market for potential expansion and customers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When you were looking for options or going through the process of figuring out how do I create a US company, what was that experience like? And how did you end up finding StartPack?
Step one was sort of deciding what state we wanted to incorporate in, and Delaware, of course, offers, invaluable benefits, especially if you're looking to build a very globally oriented business, and the formalities are minimal, all the costs up front. It's very quick, very easy. So based on a rather quick Google search, we've decided that it will be Delaware, and then we started looking for registered agents and corporate administrators in this state. And while there were a few corporate service providers that I looked at, I think StartPack just appeared to be something a bit more modern, and I don't know, I just really like the interface, and I thought, I think these guys know what they're doing. And to be honest, I'm really happy we made this decision.
Well, the pleasure is ours. We're excited to be working with you and see the progress you've made and where you're going to go. Could you share a little bit about what your experience has been like using StartPack?
Of course. I'm a very organized person, and for me, it's very important that whoever I work with is organized as well. And you guys have been absolutely incredible. You have been keeping us posted of the timeline of the progress of our applications. you always let us know what to expect, when to expect a response, what to do if there is a delay. So we were always informed, always knew where things were, which is unfortunately not always the case with other companies. So I think this was the main value that you guys added to the process of creating a business on our side, which, as you might expect, can be quite stressful and just burdensome. And also, yeah, I think the formalities were minimal, and that was really good, because there was really very little work required for us to actually facilitate all the applications. So you did all the heavy lifting, and for that, a big thank you.
Well, thank you again for the kind words. It really means a lot. And that's exactly what we try to do. We want to take care of everything else other than building the business, because that's what you do best. We can't do that. I personally don't know the rental market or those problems at all. So I wish we could help there, but maybe we're not as experts as you are there. Let me ask you this. Were you ever worried that StartPack was a scam?
To be honest, I wasn't. I remember I read quite a few reviews on Trustpilot, and I thought, I think these guys are really good, and I think other users had very good experiences.
Awesome. And I think what we've learned from a lot of folks is there are folks who've had very poor experiences with other companies, and
Absolutely.
Scammers do exist
Yes.
out there for sure. But what we like to stress is that we aren't in this for a short, hey, one-time relationship transaction, etc. We try to be partners for the long term with whoever we work with. So again, that's what excites us about being with founders from the earliest stages and seeing how you and your company grow over time. Let me ask you a couple sort of rapid fire questions.
Sure.
What has been the hardest part about starting a venture and building a business?
I think it's multitasking, especially when you have a very small team. As I said, it's just a couple of friends and I think it can be quite hard to just prioritize where do you start first, especially if you have zero experience in this area. So I think this has been the most challenging aspect so far, and I'm sure it will be for the nearest future.
And on the flip side, what has been the most rewarding or positive aspect so far from building this venture?
I think seeing how your sketch from a paper or a napkin actually materializes into something material, something you can download from App Store or from Google Play. I think this moment so far has been the most exciting, actually seeing how your ideas come into life.
Love that. How do you turn your ideas into life and bring them into existence? And on that, there are entrepreneurs out there, maybe exactly in a very similar situation to you were in a full-time job or a part-time job, and have this idea that they would like to bring to life. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs in a similar position?
I would say just start somewhere, just make this first step. Just if you have the idea, just sit down, take a notepad or open a blank Word document and just start jotting down ideas or drawing or wherever your idea lies. Just take this first step, and it will just get going from there. So don't be afraid. Don't hold yourself back. I think this is the most important thing, because I think people do tend to overthink, and I definitely did that. And I really wish that the moment I had the idea, I just sat down and said, okay, where do we start? Just start.
And I think it's very easy, and I find myself doing this too at times, to second guess yourself or plant these seeds of doubt, and they prevent you from even starting. But at the end of the day, the only way you can really fail in some cases is by not trying. And then you always have that doubt or that regret of what if.
I absolutely agree with you.
So I really like that advice. Just start. if you have an idea. And I think starting can be as simple as jotting something down in a napkin. Or drawing out a website. So there's many ways to start. It doesn't mean you have to go out and build a full website yet. There's things you can do before.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, Ksenia, this was incredible. I think a lot of your messages and your experience really will resonate with a lot of founders out there. Thank you so much for really trusting us to work with you and build your business. And I'm so excited to see the progress you make in 2021. Let me finish with a final question. Sure. If you're able to share or provide any sneak peeks, are there any things on the horizon for Holmes in 2021 that you'd like to share?
Definitely. We're going to launch the actual app hopefully next month. And then we will start expanding into other countries and just looking into other markets and seeing what is the rental situation there. So yeah, I think this is the main plan for 2021.
Love it. We have a new mobile app launching or app launching, expansion across the globe. I'm excited. And hey, I wouldn't bet against you. I'm excited to see what happens.
Thank you, Arjun. Thank you. And thank you once again for all your help, guys.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.